all know who Mario is, and I don't mean we can all recognize Nintendo's single most iconic character from just a whisker of his mustache. I mean, we've seen Mario perform so many heroic deeds that at this point we fundamentally understand his very soul. He's kind, selfless, altruistic. He's guided by a strong sense of right and wrong, and will go to the ends of the galaxy for his friends. This is a man who will risk his life to help someone he met just a few minutes ago. And after all this, he'll still happily play a round of tennis with the very people who have repeatedly tried to cheat and kill him. He is, unquestionably, the very essence of what it means to be good. But what if you took Mario's emblematic M and flipped it upside down? What if you were to take every single one of his qualities and invert them? Would the resulting person be evil incarnate, or is it more complex than that? My question today is this: who is Wario? Wario's origin as a concept really is as simple as inverting Mario's M. When the Game Boy came out in 1989, the launch title Super Mario Land switched up the tried and true formula of rescuing Princess Peach from Bowser, and instead, this time around, Mario had to rescue Princess Daisy. Okay, so not really a big leap, but for the sequel, they decided to really turn the Mario MO on its head. What if we had a character who was the opposite of Mario, whose symbol was a W, the developers asked themselves? It was a weirdly perfect fit because it just so happens the Japanese word for bad is warui. Combine warui with Mario and you get Wario, or Bad Mario. Just like that, an iconic villain was born, but unfortunately not before Princess Daisy had been created.
Hi, I'm Daisy!
As soon as the developers pitched their idea for this new rival to the rest of the team, he was an instant hit. His motive in the game was simple. Mario had a big castle, and Wario wanted a big castle. So while Mario was off saving Daisy, Wario swooped in, changed the locks, and just like that, he owned the place. Of course, Mario eventually reclaimed his home, but Wario ended up taking something much bigger from him: his whole freaking game series. Wario was such a popular villain that the third Super Mario Land is called Wario Land. And it's not Super Mario Land 3 Wario Land, it's Wario Land : Super Mario Land 3, like Mario was an afterthought. He's not even mentioned in subsequent titles, instead they're just Wario Land 2, 3, and 4. Dang, Wario, that is cold. So what drove this new, bizarro Mario? In a word, greed. Turns out the opposite of Mario's good traits pretty much all just boil down to greed. Wario doesn't care about anyone else. He just wants a huge mansion filled with piles of gold up to the ceiling, and honestly, who among us can say that we wouldn't like that too? Sure, there's some pettiness and spite mixed in, but 99.9% of what gets Wario out of bed in the afternoon is avarice. Doesn't matter if you're his archenemy, his best friend, or even a random bystander. If you have something Wario wants, Wario's gonna get it. His goal is not to do evil, his goal is to become filthy rich, and hey, if some evil happens along the way, so be it. Wario would hear Gordon Gekko's "greed is good" speech from the movie Wall Street and think, this guy makes some good points.
Greed is good.
Eventually, Wario realized he was thieving hard when he could be thieving smart. His solution? Capitalism. In the 2003 title WarioWare Inc. Mega Microgames, he founded a company with the goal of making a quick buck by hiring his friends, some of them children, to pump out as many cheap video games as possible. You should know, WarioWare was made as a secret labor of love within Nintendo, because otherwise it kinda looks like a thinly veiled cry for help. At the end of the game, Wario tries to abscond with everyone's share of the profits in his rocket ship. So to recap, 18 years ago, there was a game about a tech mogul who underpaid his employees so badly he could afford his own space program. Not making any sort of commentary, just saying that's a thing that happened. Games in the vein of Wario Land continued until 2008, but since then the only titles starring the big garlicky man himself are all WarioWare sequels. Even though Wario's character has shifted from squatter to CEO, greed is still basically Wario's one and only motivation. But does that make him evil? I mean, is he really such a bad guy? Yes. Can't believe I have to say that. Yeah, he's the bad guy. Duh. Lately I've been seeing some character rehabilitation think pieces on Wario and how he's not evil, he's just some honest, misunderstood guy, and it boggles my mind. The fact that Wario is upfront about how terrible he is doesn't make him okay, it just makes him easier to avoid, and you don't want a Wario in your life. Time and time again, he's betrayed his closest friends for short-term gains, because Wario doesn't have friends. Wario has assets. Wario's actions hurt people.
Wario, destroy Mario!
If he got his way, Mario would be homeless and his employees would be broke while he orbited the Earth with only piles of money for company, and that's exactly how he wants it. Even in Wario Land, where he steals from pirates, if he collects enough money, by the end of the game, a genie conjures an entire planet with his face on it overhead. Do you have any idea how ecologically devastating it would be if a whole other planet just appeared above us right now? Our orbit and day-night cycle would be thrown into chaos. Tsunamis would level cities. There would be mass extinctions. But hey, at least there'd be no question about who killed the planet. So why do people like him? My theory is because he's ridiculous. He breaks wind like a nylon jacket and he picks his nose like there's gold in there too. He is an over-the-top caricature of a greedy person. He's satire that lands squarely on a giant pink nose. Take a look at that W again. It's not just Mario's M flipped, it's enlarged too, because every aspect of Wario's personality is heightened to highlight just how disgusting his greed is. There's a reason he's still the final boss in every single WarioWare game to date. He's the villain. Sure, you can like him because he makes you laugh the same way that you can like the suave corporate raider Gordon Gekko. But if you watched Wall Street and your takeaway is, greed is good actually because you liked the character who said it, you fundamentally misunderstood Wall Street. Plenty of villains are endearing for any number of reasons, but don't mistake your affection for their decency. Turns out the opposite of Mario simply is Wario. Hey, thanks for watching. I'm Julian Huguet. You can find me saying more simple stuff in complicated ways on Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch under the title Hug It Out.